Okay, so last year at this time I had exactly 19 subscribers, as you can see. And as of today I have 147,000 subscribers, which is just pretty insane. So what I'm going to do in this video is essentially just share my goals for 2020 and just essentially read them out, and then also share some tips and tricks regarding like how I set goals and kind of how I do it, why I do it, and also how I use them. And this will then hopefully be really interesting to look back at a year from now and see kind of how I went with achieving these goals that I set out for 2020. And the first goal is to reach 500,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. This is something that, again, if you look back at it and thinking like a year ago or something, when I reached 100 subscribers, I was like completely ecstatic and like I couldn't believe that I'd hit 100 subscribers. And then it just grew from there and it went even more crazy. And if someone would have told me at that point when I hit like 100 subscribers that a year from now you're gonna have like way past 100,000 subscribers, I don't even know what I would have thought, or if I would have, I don't know what would have gone through my mind if I would have known that. So I don't think at that point that I would have even set the goal of reaching 100,000 within a year. I don't think that I would have done that. And so right now it feels like if I set the goal of 500,000 in less than a year, then that's going to be a pretty huge goal. And I feel like that's kind of dreaming in a sense, because if you calculate it out, it means that I need to gain about 6,800 subscribers every week. So that's about 1,000 subscribers a day, which is quite a lot. It's not unrealistic, but it's kind of a lot for me to gain that, because now I think I'm averaging about 500 subscribers a day. So yeah, 500,000 in 1 year, that's the first goal. And when it comes to actually setting your goals, there's a phrase that I heard like way back when I was studying that's related to this and like how to figure out the perfect difficulty of your goals. And that phrase is, it should be within reach but out of grasp. And that essentially just means that it shouldn't be so difficult that it's unrealistic that you will even reach it at all. And it shouldn't be so easy that you can just reach out and like grab it straight away. Meaning like if it's a goal that's so easy that it doesn't really take you much effort to actually reach it, then it won't really motivate you and it won't really change anything that you do. So it won't really have any benefits of setting that goal, because you'd probably reach it either way. And if you set a goal that's like super difficult, that seems almost unrealistic and it's improbable that you will even reach, then that might actually demotivate you, because you start like, as you try to reach that goal, you realize that it's harder and harder than you thought that it was going to be. And that kind of demotivates you and makes you not want to try harder to actually reach that goal. And also, this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Right now I'm using Skillshare to learn how to do 3D models in a software called Blender, which is random, I know. Skillshare offers thousands of different classes on pretty much any topic that you could come up with. So productivity, software development, UI, UX design, photography, videography. And I've previously used Skillshare to learn about productivity from Thomas Frank, who has a productivity masterclass on Skillshare. And now I'm also using it to learn about my new obsession, which is this 3D modeling in Blender. So Skillshare is a really good place to go if you want to learn about a new topic and you just want to find a class on that topic, because they have tons of different classes on pretty much any topic that you could come up with. And it's also less than $10 a month for an annual membership. And if you use the link in my description, you'll get a 2-month free trial. And the next goal is like directly correlated to that previous goal. And that is that I want to try to make one video every month that I believe has the potential to go viral. And the wording of that goal is really important, I think, because essentially it'll be really hard if I set the goal of making a video every month that goes viral. That's a completely different goal, and that is very much determined by outside factors like the YouTube algorithm or how people actually like the topic of the video, like a lot of other things that aren't up to me. But making a video every month that I believe could go viral, that's just completely up to me and up to how I make that video. It's kind of the opposite of the previous goal though, because the previous goal is really up to outside factors, like anything could happen that would make it so that my channel doesn't get to 500,000 subscribers. And that's somewhat within my control, but also somewhat within other factors and other people's control. But this goal is completely within my control. I can decide, or I can put as much effort as I want into a video, and I decide when to release it. And if I'm happy enough with it, then I've essentially achieved that goal. Even if it gets 0 views, I can still achieve that goal, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's the second goal that I have for 2020. And the next goal that I've set is to take a thinking week 2 times this year. And this is directly stolen from my old friend Bill Gates, or BG as I call him. We go way back. Anyway, I watched this documentary with him, and it's called like Decoding Bill Gates or something like that. And in that there was a sequence, a very short sequence, where they talk a little bit about the fact that he takes like what he calls a thinking week once. They don't say how often he does it, but I saw an article and it said that he does it like 2 times a year or something. And essentially what he does during that week is he takes a ton of books or research papers or questions and things from people, and he just removes himself from his normal environment. He goes to some sort of cabin, as far as I understood it, some sort of cabin, isolates himself, and basically just spends a week on his own reading and studying these topics that he's decided to kind of learn more about, if that makes sense. And that's one of my goals for this year as well. I want to get back into kind of learning a little bit more, because with YouTube and all this stuff, it's easy to kind of get stuck in just making another video and get away from learning new things. So the idea is just essentially to take a thinking week and just go away somewhere and just sit and like bring books on a certain topic. Maybe it'll be like machine learning or something, and I'll just like double down and focus on trying to learn as much as I can within that week about that topic. And I'm thinking that I'm going to make probably a video about that as well in the upcoming months. So yeah, that's the third goal of this year. And then related to this goal, I've set another goal that is that I want to read 5 hours per week. And I've been really bad at this lately because I don't know, I just don't end up actually reading. But I know that it's kind of good for me, and I really like to actually spend that time reading. And I also feel like I'm more productive when I do read. But I don't know if that's like a chicken or the hen scenario, where I'm not sure if I read more during times when I'm more productive, or whether it's that when I read I get more productive. It could be either or. It's probably like some sort of combination of both. But yeah, I just want to spend a little bit more time reading because I like to read and I like to learn new things. And I don't really care how many books I read or anything like that. I just want to spend more time reading. And the last like major goal that I've set is to try to release one app this year. And I mean like a proper app, something like maybe the productivity app that I've been working on this channel before, or maybe the workout tracking app that I've also been talking about a little bit. Either of them really, I don't care which one specifically. Hopefully I'll be able to actually publish both. But yeah, that's one of my main goals that I want to achieve this year. Okay, so those are my goals for 2020. And now let's get into kind of why I actually set goals. And there's a really good quote, I think it's from Kai Green. I used to watch this like seminar and I had it on like repeat. And I think he said something like,
make sure that you understand in your mind where you want to go. If you know nothing else, if you don't know anything about the sciences, you don't know anything about the path towards getting there, a lot of times, I guess the journey becomes the clearest when we decide where we want to go. Does that make any sense?
And that's kind of why I set goals myself, is because I want to set the point or the destination of where I want to get to. And once that destination kind of is set, then it's easier to figure out which route to actually take to get to that goal. But when you don't have that destination set, then it's kind of difficult to figure out where you should go, and you don't have anything to base your decisions off of. I'm also not like a prisoner to my goals, so that means that if I've set a goal and I realize that, okay, I'm not going to be able to reach that goal, then I'll revise that goal and I'll make it a little bit more achievable. Or if I realize that I'll go way past that goal, then I'll reset it again and make it a little bit more difficult. And also if it's a goal that I've set and I realize that, okay, now that's not really my priority anymore, I don't want to reach that goal right now, then I might just scrap that goal and create a new one, or maybe just remove it completely. So one really good example of both of those sides, like both overperforming and underperforming, is the goals that I've set in like October of last year, so 2019. I set the goal of reaching 75,000 subscribers by December 31st. And I also set the goal of reaching 10,000 followers on Instagram by December 31st. And I reached 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in like mid-December, so I way blew past that goal. And by December 31st, I think I had like 130,000 subscribers. And on the other hand though, on Instagram, I set the goal of 10,000 by December 31st, and by December 31st in real life, I had, I think, maybe 8,000 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly about the number, but I think it was like 8,000 followers. So I didn't really reach that goal, but the other goal I blew way past. And oftentimes that's kind of what happens. You set a goal and you might even like blow way past what you thought you would be able to do. And that's kind of one of the reasons also why I set these goals. I try to set goals that are slightly above what I believe I can actually achieve. And the reasoning behind this is that once I've set that goal, even though I might think that it's impossible at the time of setting the goal, I can then ask myself the question of, if this was possible, how would I do it? And usually asking yourself that question leads you to come up with certain answers that makes you kind of hold yourself to a higher standard. So for instance, if I set the goal of like reaching 1 million subscribers in this year alone, then I would come up with all these answers, and most of those answers would probably mean that I would have to place a higher standard on myself for each video that I actually produce, because in order to be able to actually reach that goal, each video has to be way more dialed in. It doesn't have to be necessarily better quality or anything, but just it almost has to be that every video has potential to go viral, and that's really difficult to do, and that means that I would have to hold myself to a higher standard in order to be able to reach that goal. So that's kind of a way why I usually try to set goals that are that seem almost impossible for myself at the time of setting that goal, because then I might come up with ways to reach that goal that I wouldn't have come up with otherwise. Alright, so those are all my goals for 2020, and I hope this kind of gave you some sort of inspiration or maybe some new ideas about how to set your own goals, or how to use goals in order to perform a little bit better. But yeah, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.